I mean, coincidence theorists might brush it all off. But how does some random guy who gets kicked in the head for a living for 20 years just come out of the woodwork, make millions or billions of dollars, and speak in such an eloquent fashion, in such an entertaining fashion, dropping wisdom bombs, including possibly non public information, a la Alex Jones? A la Alex Jones. Is Andrew Tate Alex Jones 2.0? I mean, I've long stated that I think Alex Jones might be the greatest thespian in modern history. His antics unrivaled. The entertainment value unrivaled until now. Possibly until now. I've said Alex Jones doesn't even have a close second. Obviously, Steven Seagal notwithstanding. But perhaps now he does. Perhaps this individual here has established himself firmly in the second place possession. And who knows if he will be able to surpass. We will be going over all of this and more in typical MINDSHOCK fashion with logic and reason at the forefront, unlike anything else out there in the mainstream or otherwise. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. Patreon to get priority for case topic, logical analysis, co-podcaster requests. You can also be a guest on the podcast depending on your tier. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind. Leave them in the comment section, or if you're with us here live, drop them in the live chat. I will try to get to all of them, and you could also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. Welcome everyone. Sarah Catherine, the fallen slaves us all. Who's here to watch the next in line, perhaps, in the lineage of conspiracy theorists? We have the OG himself, Serge Monast, which nobody talks about. Serge Monast, possibly the originator of all of these theories and exposing them, from the trans agenda to Project Bluebeam. Then we had Bill Cooper, the one and only Bill Cooper. And, of course, David Icke, and then Alex Jones. Quite a few others in the periphery, but none as influential as the pantheon I just listed. And is Andrew Tate next in line? That is what we will be dissecting here. So, let's go through some basic history here. When I say doesn't pass the sniff test, there's something inorganic about all the Tates. Now, I don't know what this means. I'm not claiming to have an answer as to how or why. Some may allege some kind of MK Ultra facilitation of all of this. But let's start with this here. This is an article. This is an article going all the way back to the release of Searching for Bobby Fischer. And this is none other than a childhood Andrew Tate. So this article is from 1993. And Emory Andrew Tate III here was 6 years old. Some interesting notes here. So, Emory A. Tate Jr., state's top-ranked chess player, started playing the game at age 3. Now his son, Emory III, who goes by Andrew, is a whiz at 6. Here it says, I don't think a kid his age should spend so much time playing chess. As a parent, I'd like to see him become a top-level player, but I realize there's so much more to life than just chess. He learned how to swim this summer, and he plays with his friends and stuff like that. Andrew, however, says he plays because he's bored all the time. Most of the time I'm bored, and that's the only thing I want to do most. He got very upset because he thought he was failing, Tate said. Dad, I'm playing bad, Andrew said, about to cry. Tate immediately withdrew him from the tournament, much to the child's relief. I saved him from crying in front of all those people, Tate said. It's like any sport, there's a lot of pressure in it. It all depends on how the parent deals with it. So this is kind of interesting because his father here is not this staunch authoritarian like Tate has purported before, or at least he wasn't when this kid was 6. Obviously, we don't know what happened with the relationship after the fact. But I think it's kind of interesting that he's already in the public eye, and his father was actually really famous in the chess world. Like, his father was incredibly famous in the chess world. He was kind of known as the, kind of like the black godfather of chess. Spreading chess into black communities, etc. And one of the top-ranked players in the world. Now, he was also in the Air Force and apparently involved... See, I don't know if he was directly involved in the CIA. There's a lot of shadiness there. He's Air Force, and apparently his records are blacked out for Air Force operations. So that doesn't automatically mean CIA. But he was apparently involved in some kind of top-secret Air Force projects. Now, the Air Force, obviously linked to MK Ultra, especially upper-level Air Force. So, yeah, I mean, this is definitely curious. This is definitely really curious. So one of Emory Tate's leading abilities, was linguistics. So he spoke several languages, which is curious. So apparently highly intelligent and able to learn languages very quickly. There's a quote from Andrew Tate stating, I never saw him study chess books ever. He also hated chess computers and never used them. He just sat down and played. What also is kind of interesting is within the chess world, he was known as a pioneer and a revolutionary. Some of his openings were pretty radical, as well as sacrificing many pieces right off the bat early in the game, those aren't common tactics. So he surprised a lot of people with these innovative, revolutionary tactics. Now, what kind of brain would function that way? How much of it is genetic? Here's another interesting factoid here. And he died October 17, 2015, aged 56. And we'll get into that a little bit as well. But, so here's some curiosities. So, Emory Tate, E.T., that was his nickname. And he was the U.S. Armed Forces chess champion 5 times. He was also inducted into the Indiana State Chess Hall of Fame in 2005. He won the Alabama State Championships 2010. So, yeah, I mean, not the greatest of all time by any stretch, but, yeah, a powerhouse. So, fellow Air Force veteran and 2003 U.S. Armed Forces chess champion Leroy Hill said, quote, all the players had street names. Emery's was extraterrestrial because we thought his play was out of this world. So this linguistic capability, and so what is curious is I haven't seen any actual public record or any government record of Emery Tate in the CIA. Not that there would be if he was. A lot of coincidence. There's bootlicker goofs. They hallucinate that. Oh, there's no records. Well, why would there be if it was all top secret at a certain level? Now, if it wasn't top secret and it was relatively pedestrian, then maybe there would be. But anyway, here's a clip of Andrew talking about his father and just more linguistic curiosity, for lack of a better word here.
When he died, someone messaged me who was in, because my father was in the CIA. He held the record of the CIA record for the fastest assimilation of a foreign language. My father learned Russian within 2.5 weeks from zero. Like, really? He would just read a book. He just read the dictionary. I didn't have what he had. Like, he was complete. He remembered every chess game he'd ever played. So you could be sitting there and he'd say, oh, I played him in 1982, and he'd just go through the whole game.
So, again, I'm not sure how true that is. But, I mean, clearly his father was a savant in various capacities. And maybe Andrew Tate is in a way as well. We'll be examining all of that. But, I mean, there's just so many curiosities here. Because obviously the CIA would want to recruit guys in the Air Force who are super geniuses at chess or linguistics or whatever. So he would definitely, I mean, clearly his father is a prime target for CIA recruitment. Now, whether it happened or not, that's another matter. But clearly he's a prime target. We're going to get to some of his more recent interviews, which are on a whole nother level from the previous ones. If you've been listening, I went over his Candace Owens interview, which I thought was one of his best at that point, and I went over his so-called interview with that goofy BBC reporter. So, what is, welcome, B. Carter Music and Jeff Hunt. So, if the mainstream media, legacy media, was panicking at the rise of his influence online, now how much of this is coordinated by both sides? I don't know. I don't know, but there's strange questions here that need to be asked. And this chess prodigy switching over to kickboxing. Now, I don't think he's taken that much damage. He actually has a pretty good record. And what's crazy, like all the goofs cope spiraling after his loss in boxing. What was that? That was his first boxing fight ever. After how long out of competition? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, in MMA, he's 1-0 in pro MMA. And he's 3-2 in amateur MMA record. He's 3-2, and he also beat a guy who fought in the UFC, Luke Bernard. So, you know, these aren't complete scrubs that are nobodies. And MMA is not his main sport. The only professional boxing fight he ever had was against Chase Damore, where he survived to a decision after however many years of ring rust. So it's kind of crazy that the goofs are kind of saying that this is like some kind of massive failure. Like if he got knocked out in the first round, yeah, sure. But he didn't. And he's also, I mean, what is he, a middleweight? And so he fought for the heavyweight. How heavy is Chase Damore? Wow, so he's 6'3". Is there a weight here? I mean, obviously Chase Damore is no world beater or anything of that nature. But he's not a complete scrub either. I mean, what, he's only lost one fight? What, 2 fights? Yeah, I mean, he's got a winning record by a lot. So that's weird. His weight is listed at approximately 200 pounds for heavyweight, which is weird. He was 245 as a football lineman. So anyway, whatever. I mean, Andrew Tate moving up in weight after many years off in a brand new sport to him. I mean, kickboxers aren't known for their elite boxing skills, although Krokop did do pretty well, but yeah, so it's kind of weird, like all the goofs getting triggered over him losing a decision in a sport that he was new to. Volume on the low side, hold on. Let's get it bumped. Volume check. Volume check. Volume check. Volume check. Volume check. Volume check. Okay, that should be better, I think. Sammer Quinn, is that better? On the volume. Okay. So yeah, the goof's getting triggered over his recent... Wow, that is weird. The volume is just... Yeah, it's getting funky. Okay, alright. So... Okay, I think it should be good. So let's look at his interview here. Actually, one more thing I wanted to go over. The people kind of point to the whole webcam business. From his own mouth, he kind of said his brother was mostly involved with that, and he was doing the casino for mobsters. And that's how he made his money.